Hey, fourth graders. Today we're going to continue to learn about the Lewis and Clark expedition, and our learning target is I can describe the Lewis and Clark expedition. Some of the vocabulary words that we will need to know are my turn, your turn, expedition, expedition. An expedition is a journey or voyage undertaken by a group of people with a particular purpose, especially that of exploration, scientific research, or war. In this case, Lewis and Clark wanted to map out the West. My turn, your turn. Corps. Corps. A corps is a body of people engaged in a particular activity. My turn, your turn. Continental divide. Continental divide. The Continental Divide, or the Great Divide, runs north and south, and it's a mountain ridge in western North America. So it runs all the way from Canada, the United States, down through Mexico. And it is a high point where water decides to go one way or the other. If water falls on this side of the Continental Divide, rivers, streams, runoff, they all go east to the Atlantic Ocean or the Gulf of Mexico. When water lands on this side in rivers and streams, all the water goes to the Pacific Ocean. So it's a high peak of mountains, range of mountains, where water either decides to go downhill one way to the east or the other way to the west. My turn, your turn. Native or indigenous. My turn, your turn. Native or indigenous. Native or indigenous peoples are coming from or occurring naturally in a place. For example, the indigenous people of the United States have been in North America from very, very long ago. They've been there before Lewis and Clark. My turn, your turn. Mandan Indians. Mandan Indians. The Mandan are a Native American tribe of the Great Plains who have lived for hundreds of years in what is now North Dakota. Lewis and Clark spent their first winter with this tribe in a village that looked somewhat like this. So before the first wagon train for the Oregon Trail left Missouri in 1836, Lewis and Clark explored and mapped the West for future travelers. And here is the story. On April 30th, 1803, President Thomas Jefferson purchased the Louisiana Territory from France for $15 million. It extended from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains and from the Gulf of Mexico to Canada. On May 14th, 1804, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark set sail with 45 men in 3 boats. The mission was to explore the western part of the continent and find a passage to the ocean. They wanted to find one river or one passage all the way to the Pacific Ocean. The western rivers were dangerously fast, with rapids and cataracts that were more dangerous than any they had previously experienced. On November 15, 1805, Lewis and Clark and the Corps of Discovery reached the Pacific Ocean. By this time, they knew that the Northwest Passage did not exist. There was no one waterway or river. They set up station camp and stayed there for 10 days. On September 23, 1806, the Lewis and Clark expedition comes to an end when they arrive in St. Louis, Missouri. It took a little over 2 years, but they returned with notes, samples, and maps that they had created. Now we're going to go ahead and watch a video.